They cut me out of the family, until my grandfather's letter changed everything. Hello. I'm Ethan Morrow, a 30-year-old hydrogeologist. This is the story of how I went from being a ghost in my own family to the sole heir of my grandfather's legacy. I was 29 when I realized my family had erased me from their lives. Not with a shout, but with a quiet, calculated absence that left me questioning if I'd ever been real. My story isn't about vengeance. It's about a single photograph, a locked drawer, and a truth so raw it could burn through steel. The room in the attorney's office smelled of leather and regret. My parents sat across from me, their smiles sharp as glass. My brother Caleb held a check for $1.2 million, his knuckles white around it. "You've done us proud," my father said to him, his voice thick with approval. Then he looked at me, his eyes cold as a locked gate. "Ethan, you'll find your own path." I didn't blink. I didn't break. I traced the scratches on the oak table to keep my heart from pounding out of my chest. 1, 2, 3. Then an elderly woman in a black blazer stirred. She stood, her fingers unsteady, holding up a faded photograph. My grandfather's initials were scrawled on the back, bold and unyielding. "There's something else," she said. My father's jaw twitched. Caleb's gaze turned to ice. That photograph wasn't just paper. It was a spark, and I was the fire they never expected. I hadn't returned to my grandfather's cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains for years. It used to smell of pine and possibility. Where the river's hum felt like a heartbeat, now it was a shadow of itself. The dirt path crunched under my sneakers as I approached, the porch creaking as if in mourning. The door groaned open, and there was my grandmother, Ruth, her eyes like embers in a dying fire. "You took your time," she said, her voice rough as gravel. "Took my time?" I muttered. "They told me you and Grandpa wanted nothing to do with me." Her face softened for a heartbeat, then hardened again. "They lied. Ethan, he asked for you every night he was fading." Her words were a blade to the chest. I stepped inside, the air heavy with the scent of old wood and secrets. She handed me a locked diary, its cover cracked like dry earth. Inside, my grandfather's handwriting, sharp, deliberate, listed a phone number that wasn't mine. "They said you changed it," Ruth said, her voice shaking. "Said you wanted to cut us off." I leaned against the wall, my legs unsteady. "No," I said, my throat raw. "They gave you a fake number." "They told me the memorial was at dusk," I said. I showed up to an empty meadow. Ruth's eyes flared, her hands trembling as she sank into a faded rocking chair. "It was at dawn," she whispered. "They said he didn't bother." The world tilted. My family hadn't just overlooked me. They'd buried me. They'd woven a tapestry of lies to keep me from the one person who saw me clearly, my grandfather Amos, who showed me how to track constellations, a pocket telescope when I was 7, and who nodded when I said I wanted to study how rivers shaped the land. Ruth rose, her hands firm now, and walked to an ancient rotary phone on the counter. Each turn of the dial was a crack in the silence. "Lydia James Caleb," she said into the receiver, her tone like frost. "Come here now." An hour later they arrived. My mother's voice, too sweet, echoed through the cabin. "Ruth, it's like the mountains never change." My father's was clipped. "Let's make this quick." Caleb's huff. "This couldn't wait?" Then Ruth's voice, sharp as a winter wind. "Sit down." The attorney, Miss Harper, arrived with a sealed folder. "Amos Morrow's final testament," she said, her voice steady as she opened a letter. "To my wife, Ruth, I leave the cabin and funds to live freely. To my grandson, Ethan, I leave the Morrow Field Station at 109, Riverbend Trail with all equipment, research grants and patents for his work." Caleb's chair scraped the floor as he shot up. "The station? The whole lab? That's mine." His voice broke, his finger jabbing at his parents. "You promised I'd get it all if I played my part." My mother stared at her hands. My father tugged his cufflinks, his tell when he was trapped. Harper raised a hand. "There's more. A letter for Ethan to be read aloud." She unfolded it, and my grandfather's words poured into the room, like starlight through a broken roof. "Ethan, you were the quiet one, the one who saw rivers where others saw mud. They tried to snuff your spark because it didn't burn their way. But you were never unseen to me. You were my legacy. I saw the science fair when you were 11, hiding your model of river currents in your closet because Caleb said it embarrassed him. The nights you stayed silent when your parents called your ideas pointless. Amos knew all along. You were never a mistake. This station is your place to build, to dream, to be free." Caleb laughed, cold and jagged. This is nonsense. He doesn't deserve it. I stood, my voice calm but unyielding. You lied, Caleb. You told him I didn't care. You gave them a fake number. You made sure I missed his final days. My mother's voice cut in. Ethan, stop distorting everything. Ruth stepped forward, her eyes blazing. No more, you lied to me. To Amos, to Ethan, get out. You don't belong here. They left, their footsteps fading like a receding tide. The door closed softly, and for the first time, I felt the weight of their absence dissolve. That night I stood on the porch, the mountain air cool against my skin. The stars were as vivid as the ones Amos and I used to chart. I thought of the boy I was, silent, curious, always shrinking to fit. He was still in me, but now he had ground to stand on. The Morrow Field Station wasn't just a building, it was a vow. Inside I found my old sketchbook where I'd drawn river patterns at 9. Pages worn from dreaming. Amos had kept it. He'd built a lab around it. 4 years later, that station is alive. Kids from small mountain towns come to learn, their hands trembling as they touch soil sensors for the first time. We study rivers, ecosystems, and the way the earth speaks when no one listens. Last month, a girl named Mara showed me her notes on stream erosion. Her handwriting was shaky, but her mind was afire. You think this could matter? She asked. I grinned. It already does. I was erased, rewritten, and left to fade. But one man's love, one letter gave me a map to reclaim myself. The weight you carry that no one sees, the dream, the pain, the truth you've hidden, what's yours? Let's stop being unseen together.